Just doing a quick mic check, mic check. Just doing a quick mic check, mic check. Okay. Here's my contact information. If you'd like to get in touch with me, if you are a production studio, advertising company, or if you'd like to get in touch with me, you can reach me at my email address, which is mr.paul.angeli@gmail.com. You can check out my website at www.paulangeli.com. You can also find me on Instagram, here on YouTube, and of course on LinkedIn. I hope everybody's having a great night so far, and you're having just a fantastic evening. Let me check the chat here, see we have cooking and who's on tonight. Good evening. How's everybody doing today? My name is Paul Angeli. I am a live action storyboard artist, and I welcome you to tonight's, I don't know if this is what we call lesson, or this is our Mastering the Basics series. This is our third sort of class or sort of live stream based on a live action film script, and we're just having fun with that and getting going with everything. If you are just joining the chat, joining the live stream, I appreciate you taking the time, put your name on the chat, let me know who's on here, and so gives a little bit of interaction and has some fun over here. So let's get started over here. Got a few people watching. That's absolutely phenomenal. I love it. I got my coffee here. I got my Arnold Palmer iced tea, and I'm ready to get going, and we'll have some fun together tonight. Anywho, we've had a few different lessons here so far, but I just wanted to first kick off our live stream tonight just saying thank you. I really appreciate everybody taking the time to hang out with me on these live streams. I get to watch and see everybody participating. It's absolutely phenomenal to watch this process here on YouTube. I started this channel just a little under 2 months ago, and we have over 22 live streams we've done so far. This is number 22 tonight. I'm having a blast sharing my storyboard artistic journey with you folks, and showing you some of my processes of how I work and how I get things done. I have a lot of exciting new things that we have in store, coming out for the month of December. I think we have one more live stream in November, and then we kick off December, our third month together. But if you're joining in, please drop your name in the chat. I'd love to know who's joining in today and hanging out with us today. So I appreciate everybody hanging out. 22 live streams, number 22 today. We're almost at 500 subscribers with this channel, and I really appreciate everybody taking the time to subscribe. There's well over 30 hours of content right now for your viewing pleasure if you're learning to become a storyboard artist, or enhancing your visual storytelling skills, whether it be for live action film, animation, advertisement, video games, comics, etc., etc. So this is a great tool set of information that I'm sharing with you good folks, and having some fun. But again, thank you very much. Again, if we haven't met before, my name is Paul Angeli. I'm a live action storyboard artist, and I'm coming. It's almost midnight over here on the East Coast, and this is sort of my fun time of my day to hang out with you good friends out there and talk about storyboarding and sort of having fun with this. So I appreciate everybody joining in. Let me check the chat one more time. I got Barat. Hey Barat, how you doing? How's life going for you? I know you've been part of all of our live streams. How are you enjoying the live streams? I hope you are. I know you join in every time, 3 days a week. So I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to hang out with me and sort of learn together as we're storyboarding. And I'd love to see your work, Barat. So whenever you get a chance, tag me on my Instagram feed. Just DM me over there. That'd be great. I'd love to see what you're working on and what you're up to. So with this series, let me talk about our weekly programming real quick of what I have going on. Today is Tuesday. We're sort of focused on the Storyboarding Mastering the Basics series. We've covered all, and this is sort of the time for training, tutorials, how things are done within storyboarding. I know we've talked about composition, we've talked about shots, camera movement, camera angles, some cheats and hacks on how to storyboard. And this is our third session now. Just we're fleshing out this script of Jurassic Time Loop, a feature film script. We've taken a few pages out of it and we're playing with it. And we did one which we created our shot list and sort of our detailed thumbnail. We'll go over that one more time from this script. And then we did some rough thumbnails last week. And today we're going to sort of pretend we got the approval for what we're doing, and we're going to the next stage in that storyboarding process. So, mastering the basics is what we're doing, storyboarding, mastering the basics on Tuesdays. Thursdays is a fun time for you to enhance your sketching abilities and your drawing abilities. We all need to hone in and practice what we do each and every day as storyboard artists. And one thing I do is I sketch every single day. And it has nothing to do with storyboards or anything like that. I just try to take the time to storyboard as much as I can and draw as much as I can. And sometimes I'm just exploring. And, I challenge each of you to get out your sketchbooks and draw as much as you can, on every day of the week if you can, because this is, you sit there and you're going to work, as a storyboard artist, anywhere from, the basic shift of 8 hours or well more into that. And I think you need to spend almost that much amount of time drawing and practicing and exploring and trying new things. And it's really important to do for you. But anyways, Thursdays is our sketching after hours session. We've done all different drawings of different types of things, and we've been having lots of fun. I think I was amazed that everybody enjoyed the samurai session last Thursday, and wow, I can't believe how many people watched that. It was absolutely amazing. So thanks for joining in and drawing samurais with me. Then on Saturdays is our jam sessions. I just pick out a topic. Last Saturday we worked off of Ridley Scott's classic 1979 film, the film Alien, starring Sigourney Weaver, we had some fun drawing some xenomorphs and having fun with that. And so I pick a different topic every Saturday, and that's what we storyboard. Okay, going back to it. So with this series that we've been doing right now about breaking down the script and that type of stuff, we first did how to thumbnail a script for storyboards, and that was sort of our, putting together our shot list together, having fun with that, and go back and watch that live stream if you haven't seen that, so you can watch all these live streams sequentially. It's part of the the Mastering the Basics playlist as well. But go back, and if you haven't seen that one, catch that one real quick. But it's how to thumbnail a script for storyboards, and that's basically some general research, some general concept designing, and creating that shot list. And then last week we worked on the how to break down a script. I'm so sorry. I talked about how to break down a script for storyboards was our first one. The second one is how to thumbnail a script for storyboards. And then tonight, how are we going to revise those thumbnails off this script? And sort of the process that you would do is you would get your script, and you get your shooting script, and you have a you get the script, read it over, and then you'll be working with the director on putting your notes together, and we'll take a first rough pass, which will be our thumbnails, get those approved, do another rough pass. So we call those iterations between each of the sets of storyboards that we're doing. And once they finally get approved, then you can move on to your next sequence. And there's a variety of different ways that you might submit your work. Sometimes it might be really rough. Sometimes somebody might want to see, line art. Another time they might want to see some sort of form of tone. And maybe for an advertiser, you may have to go full color in sort of a concept design of what you're doing. So here is a quick example of something I was playing around with this week based on I was going a little bit deeper in this Alien 1979 Alien boards, and having fun with it. And you can sort of see a little bit a little bit of tone, keeping it simple, still readable, easy to read, and sort of using tones like we were talking about last time, really working on silhouette and stuff like that. But let's go back into our Jurassic Time Loop script. Let's go ahead and read that again and talk about the process, okay? And sort of let's just sort of do a quick review, and then we'll catch back up to what we're doing. So this is our script. I put together a quick little film script. I have 3 pages here of this feature film script called Jurassic Time Loop. And I think it's really important when you have your script. And I went through that process, on one of the previous live streams here, is you want to read that script as many times as possible. You want to have a full understanding. You want to try to sort of, what is the point that the screenplay writer was trying to make? What is the director's vision for this? What is your vision of what you're putting together? Because we're offering a service as a storyboard artist. We're here to solve problems, story problems, and like I've said before many times, it's the most exciting time to be a part of a film or a TV series or a feature animation or a serialized animation or a video or whatever you're working on, because you're the artist that's going to put together the first visualization of what everybody sees in their mind. You're pulling in a sense, you're like the documentary photographer, shooting that film for the first time, and you're doing that through your images that you're drawing, your storyboards, and it's sort of once all that gets approved, it's the blueprint, it's the template that the rest of the artistic teams in that film production or that crew are going to be working on to produce that, whatever that film might be, and whether it be Deadpool 3 or Gladiator 2 that I know Ridley Scott's working on right now, and big names are attached to that. I think I read Denzel Washington, all sorts of fantastic talent out there working on these films. I know I've been watching a lot about with Deadpool 3. You got Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman teaming up, and all these different Marvel characters through all their different franchises all coming together into the MCU. You have new shows, that are coming out, whether it be through Disney, the Mandalorian series or the Ashoka series or whatever it might be. You have so many different films and TV shows and animations and things like that all coming out. So we need to put that visualization. But let's go over this Jurassic Time Loop script one more time, and for if you're watching this for the first time, and let's sort of read through that script a little bit and sort of how we broke that down and how we got to sort of where we are today. So Jurassic Time Loop, this is that script I had put together here and wrote. So our slug line is exterior space. All is quiet in space. A nearby planet is surrounded. By star systems. Captain David Rhodes voiceover. It was supposed to be an easy science mission. I was wrong. Chiron says space. So before I go any further with the script, one of the things that I do when I'm reading the script, I'll read it just to read it, and I'll read it through once, and then I'll come back through and then start highlighting those things I need to draw, whether it be location, characters, props, elements, actions, what do we need to do, and I'll have it all color coded in a sense. And sometimes if I have a printed script, I think I have this here, I'll do the same thing with my printed script. I'll get my highlighters out, and I'll be highlighting all those different features that I need to sort of make sure I have a mental note of that story and where I'm trying to go with that. But let's continue on with the story, and then we'll go back to how we broke that down. So, Captain David Rhodes voiceover. It was supposed to be an easy science mission. I was wrong. Chiron is the text that appears on the screen. It says space. Exterior space continuous. 1960s spacecraft hurls through the emptiness towards an unknown planet out of control. Pieces of the craft jettison off into the abyss of space. The deck of the craft is on fire. Smoke fills the captain. Captain Rhodes and two other astronauts are buckled up into their seats as they shake feverishly. The computer screens are flickering, then flashing. Neener, neener. Sirens are blaring. First Officer Peggy Lipton says, the craft can't hold much longer, Captain. We need to jettison the main deck. Interior spacecraft main deck continuous. The detach button flashes from the captain's control panel. Through the smoke and flames, the captain looks at the first officer, and then the third astronaut, science officer Brody. Cracks begin to appear in the dash shield of the craft. Ching, 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 ching. He pushes the button with authority. Exterior space. The craft's main deck separates from the rest of the ship quickly as it shoots its way to the planet. After a few moments, the remainder of the ship explodes. Boom! Interior spacecraft main deck day. The crew of the spacecraft tumble through the atmosphere to the unknown planet below, looking through the ship's port windows, trying to control the helm of the spacecraft. The captain sees that the atmosphere looks similar to Earth's. Clouds appear as well as the blue sky, blue sky. Exterior planet, atmosphere day. Smoke and flames trail the sky as the spacecraft falls to the planet's surface. Through the clouds, alien land masses and water appear. Interior spacecraft, main deck day. The captain loses control of the helm. Navigation controls spin chaotically. He takes one more glance out the port window to see land approaching. Exterior planet surface day. The spacecraft has crash landed in the middle of a crystal blue lake. Smoke billows from the craft as it sits helpless. The three astronauts awake when the lake water begins to flood the main cabin of the spacecraft. The astronauts, hurt and bleeding, unbuckle themselves, grab essential life support kits, and climb out of the craft one by one. Sitting on the hull of the spacecraft, the science officer pulls out a device to see if oxygen is present and suitable for human life. Beep, beep, beep. Science officer Brody. All signs look good, Cap. We have oxygen. All three take off their helmets and take a deep breath. The captain sees the spacecraft that is taking on water quickly and will soon sink to the bottom of the lake. How's everyone doing? Captain David Rhodes, how's everyone doing? We better get off this pile of scrap before we sink with it. Science Officer Brody, Cap, I'll be right behind you. I just want to grab a few extra pieces of equipment to study this planet. Captain David Rhodes. Suit yourself, Brody. You better make it quick. Don't dally. The captain and first officer plunge into the frigid lake and swim ashore as Brody fumbles around grabbing equipment in silver cases. The captain and first officer finally make it to the shore and collapse on the sand. After a few moments, the captain awakes to the hot sun on his face and a loud cry, "Ah!" He wipes the blurring of his eyes to see some sort of flock of prehistoric creature attacking Science Officer Brody. He's swinging a sharp metal pole at the giant reptilian birds, each attacking him with like a pack of hungry wolves. He pierces one with his weapon. He is outnumbered. One grabs him with his talons and begins raising him up into the air. The pack turns towards the captain and first officer. Okay, so that's our 3 pages of our script that we've been playing around with here in these live sessions here. And let's go back into sort of to recap how we do this. So like I said before, I'll grab a bunch of highlighters if I have that film, that screenplay or the working script that I have, or the shooting script, excuse me, that I have, and I'll be working with it, and I'll be highlighting all those areas. I'll highlight the characters. This one I have it in green, so Captain David Rhodes, First Officer Peggy Lipton. I also have Science Officer Brody. What are different locations? I need to have space. I need to have the interior of the spacecraft. I need to have, what does the planet's surface look like? What does this Jurassic surface look like? What are the different props that I might need? I might need that little scanner to check for oxygen. I need to have that detach button off the captain's chair. What does that all look like? I'll be besides the props, I'll look at what elements do I need. I need a 1960s spacecraft. I need debris. What does broken up spaceship look like? I need solar systems. I need control panels and all things like that. And I have some action. I have smoke and fire and all sorts of crazy stuff that I need to draw. So once I have all that done, sometimes I'll do some rough thumbnails, when we sort of see these rough thumbnails that we had generated together a few episodes or a few live streams before, and then also, what is the shot list? What are we looking for the shot list of what needs to get done? I need establishing shot, I need the Chiron, I need, all these different shots that are going on as well. And then sometimes what I'll do is I'll go and I'll play around with some of the sketching too, and I'll just explore that. And so I have First Officer Lipton, I have the Science Officer Brody, maybe the captain, and just some initial ideas of what we're doing. And so that's what we're playing with there, and that's one of the other live streams we were talking about. So then we went from there. I would always say there's always a process to everything and what we're doing. So you want to read this script, read it as many times as you can. We want to put together our questions for our director or client, and we want to, what's going on in the director's mind. The director is the visionary of this particular film. So where is he or she? Where are they wanting to go with this film? I want to make sure that I'm interpreting what their vision is. We're all part of one team, and I want to make sure I'm hitting those beats of what made impact for the director and where they want to take this project. And also too, the screenwriter, I want to make sure we're meeting all those things, but we want to talk to our leader and make sure that we're doing our part to help to facilitate the visuals for this. Maybe there might be some concept design work already from the pre-production team that we can go off of. Sometimes it's all on spec, there's nothing yet, so I sort of have to do a lot of research. So I'll make all those notes down, have everything that I need to do, and I'll go do my research. I'll put together my shot list of what I'm doing, or maybe the director or first unit director already have the shot list put together, and sort of where do I need to go from there. Okay, and once I get all that information, I think communication is really key for you storyboard artists out there, is just to over communicate. Make sure you get every question answered. I don't think there's ever a silly question, and you want to be pithy about this. You want to put all your questions down, and whether you type them up or write them down, and make sure they're to the point, and you can get the answers you need so you can do your job as a storyboard artist. I think that's critically important, and to make sure you have full understanding of what you're doing and what you're being asked to do, because we're trying to hit time limit, time. We're hitting deadlines. We need to get all those questions answered, and we don't want to delay production, the pre-production process, because you're waiting on storyboards because you don't have an answer. We need to, and sometimes you're right on the money and you get all the answers you need. Other times you need to go out of your way to go find out what those questions are, and to get that area. Sometimes you'll read the script and it'll be the action line of the script. It'll just say big battle scene or big fight, and you got to come up with all of this. And but you sort of want to, what type of fight sequence are we doing? John Wick, or what are we doing here? So, or are we doing something, a lightsaber fight or whatever it might be? So we need to know those things. Okay, so once we have all that done and we sort of know where we're gonna go hit off on the storyboards. And we started playing around with these storyboards earlier. Let me see, where did I put those? That's not it. Where did I put those guys? No, that wasn't it. No, that wasn't it. Where did I put those storyboards? I thought I had it up. No. Let me find that for you guys. No, that wasn't it. Here, let me find that real quick. See where I put that. Give me two seconds. Let me pop this up real quick, and then I'll be right back. Let's see where I put that file. Open. There we go. There it is. Okay. I thought I had it. Okay. There we go. So this is what I was looking for, and this is what we were working on last time. And here we had our thumbnail. So we started thumbnailing, the Jurassic Time Loop sequence there. And some of the cheats that we were talking about when we were putting this together was, hit those main beats of what you're trying to do. That helps to put that storyboard together for you quicker, or the thumbnailing process a little bit quicker, in terms of, get those key shots. I kept it sort of simple in terms of my drawings, and of what we're looking for. You can sort of see some of the thumbnails that we created together. The pterodactyl thing, petrodactyl, eyeball, Peggy Lipton. We had a science officer, Brody, piercing the wing of the creature, the prehistoric creature, having fun with that. And then we just the fight sequence, and he's on the ship sinking in the water. The flying creature is going to try to get him. Okay, so so where do you go from here? Okay, so we thumbnailed up into this point, and then the next question is, where do we go from here? And that's why I had these images, because these are more, I would consider these still sort of, for my work, these are still rough. They might be the final, shots that we would put in the film, or whatever we might do. But I think there's a variety of different ways, and that's where that question is going to come into play. And in terms of what we're doing is what is the output of these storyboards? Are they full color? Are they grayscale? Are they line art? You think about that and how much time it takes to put those frames together and do those drawings. I tend to try to work pretty quick in terms of what I'm doing so I can get that imagery created as fast as I can. But once those thumbnails are submitted to your director or client, you'll go over that and then they'll be either approved or they'll be approved with notes. And then I'll take those notes and do those revisions on those thumbnails in my rough stage and then get those submitted again for final approval. And once those are approved, then I'll go on to my next sequence, or I might go on to my next job once I've done my work. Usually if it's a big film, there's a whole team of storyboard artists working together. Other times you might just be working on an action sequence or a car chase or something like that, or something with visual effects within that particular storyboard. But I think there's different ways we can finalize these boards. So let's talk about that a little bit in terms of what we're working on tonight a little bit with this particular sequence. Let's see here. And so when we're working with this, let me turn this one off. Like that. We'll leave it like this. Okay, so sometimes you'll take your sketch and we're thinking about a lot of things as we're putting our composition together, and I don't know if we want to put some notes on here. Take a sip of my water here. And there's different ways we can put this final shot together, and there's different ways here. So this is just your basic line art that would be right here. So let me get a different color here. And there might be a few different ways we do this. So something simple like this would just be our line art for our board. And we're talking about how we're putting those boards together. So over here, something like this would be just our line art. And another one that we could do here too is we might do a black and white. A black and white drawing in terms of what we're talking about. And that might be like there's no, let me just see here. Take some of this. Say something like this shot here. Grab that. Let's grab that piece right here. You can sort of see the differences of the output of what we're talking about here. Oops. Now we're trying to do is show really quick what the difference is. So, you know, you might have like over here on the left side of the screen, this one, we might have just line art. Maybe that's what the final output could be. Another one would be like this is a black and white drawing. That might be the line, you know, that might be a line with a little bit of the black and white in there. So a two-color rendition of the sequence there. You know, another one we could, you know, you might need to do too is maybe you go in there and you do some sort of, you know, you'll have to do a final of some sort of grayscale in there. So if I do that, so let's add that in there. Then approve there. So these are the different options that we can produce as boards. Each have a different time frame of how long it takes to get those boards knocked out. And these are the questions that we would be asking as well. So, okay. And with this one here, this would be sort of a or either a grayscale, or we could call it a tone. Oops. So we would have a tone there. So, you know, you got some tonage there. Or the other thing you can do here too is you might be asked, you want something in color. So okay, so maybe you might want to have it in color in this shot here. So we have to be clear of what different type of work is being asked of us, this project. Okay, just quickly, here, let me do this and I'll go to the chat in a second. Okay, so we have black and white, line art, grayscale, color, tone. So just real quick, let's add another layer in there and sort of show what we can do with this. Color can be simple, it could be complicated. Just showing you some cheats I do. In terms of what we're doing here. You get the idea of what we're doing here. So we have some color work we've done here. A little bit more. We're just having some fun with it. So it depends on in which way it's going to go. You can do some effects, you know, some smoke effects on there too if you need to do something like that. Let's see what we can do with that real quick. Just playing around here real quick. Filter, let's do a there you go. And there's some, do this really quick. In terms of what we're doing. Let's do a quick save on this one. And again, these are the various different ways you can do get your final boards out. So again, one more time to recap, you have your line art that we're doing here. and then you might be asked to do black and white, and that's there. And everything takes incrementally more time, and I wouldn't do this until your final roughs are approved, so you don't have to repaint all this stuff or whatever you might have to do. And then we have our grayscale image here. That might be all that it need to be, or hey, maybe we might need some full color. And we threw this shot relatively easy together. So, okay, before we move on, let's take a look at our chat, see how we're doing. So I got Barat with us. Tornado T, hey, how's it going? Nice to meet ya. Thanks for joining the live stream. I hope you're getting some great quality value out of this. And also, please don't forget to go back. If you're new to this particular live stream for tonight for our Mastering the Basics, go back and watch those other two. Watch that, how to break down a script for storyboards and how to thumbnail a script for storyboards to sort of catch yourself back up to where we are today. But Barat and Tornado T, welcome. Appreciate you being on board here tonight with me. And then Andreas is here. Andreas, hey, if you guys haven't checked out Andreas's work, Andreas, I don't know if you posted your stuff on your Instagram feed, but folks, check out Andreas's work. Some fantastic work that was put together from our live stream. So keep up the good work. We were working on the 1979 Alien movie, Ridley Scott's Alien movie, back on Saturday, and Andreas had some great work that was created. So, hey Paul, your storyboards with spotting blacks and tones for depth and contrast led me back to Alex Toth. Remarkable. Alex Toth is, if you haven't, I always study a lot of artists, and I try to figure out what works for me. And I've had all different artists that I've followed over my years, from fine art painters to illustrators, to comic artists, and I've had so many different influences. And I think my style is just a culmination of all these things. And I'm always studying all the time as well. I'm always looking out, looking for new artists, and whether it be a storyboard artist that I admire out there that's working on some great stuff. It might be a comic artist that's brand new. Even though I've seen a lot of books over my days, and and it might even be a filmmaker. There's somebody that I just love their style of filmmaking, and it's like, how do I incorporate that into my boards? So I don't know how to say this. I think I'm always a constant student. I'm always studying. I'm always learning, I've been behind the camera multiple times, doing music videos, as a director and editor, cameraman, everything like that. I've done a bunch of award-winning outdoor films and things like that. And, I've been, on the computer, on my Cintiq here, working away, and I've been behind the camera. I've done all different things. I've acted in a few video games. It's crazy all the things I've gotten a chance to take part of. But I think one of those things, and if you have a passion for this craft, I think it's something that you immerse yourself in. You're learning all about it. I'm not going to say that I know everything. I'm always learning all the time. And I was with a bunch of pros a few weeks back, and just there even was things that we were discussing in our chat, that things that I was like, man, I got to go back and go learn how to do that. I totally haven't used that for a while. I got to use that technique or a certain piece of software, whatever it is. One of the pieces of software I have not gotten into is Blender, and that's something that I know a few of you out there that have invited to help me out to learn how to do Blender. And with grease pencils, so I can create some of these cinematic shots in a 3D environment, and then have the 2D on top of it. And it has been a while since I was using Maya or different video game pieces of software and stuff like that to create 3D modeling. I remember back in the day I learned how to use Swivel 3D, and that was back in the early 90s when that first came out. And I remember I was a student, and I was a lab tech just working for free so I could get access to all the computers. And I remember having projects I'd be rendering on I don't know how many different desktops, rendering so many seconds of footage for a little video. Oh my goodness gracious, back in the day. But good stuff. But I would say it's always be the constant student. That's why I always challenge you good friends out there to join me for that sketching after hours. You got to hone your craft. Every day I'm sketching. Once in a while I'll try, I know on Instagram I'll try to post some of my drawings, and just I'll throw the camera on while I'm sketching away. And to me it's like, you don't need anything fancy. I don't have fancy moleskin sketchbook. Sometimes I just have copy paper, and I just use what is this, a Papermate pen, Bic round stick pen, and a Sharpie for my highlights. And Andreas was talking about Alex Toth, and a fantastic storyboard, or no, excuse me, comic artist, working with on Torpedo, or you've seen a lot of his stuff on Space Ghost and other Super Friend. Alex Toth is just an amazing artist, and had created so many different design features, and just amazing artist. Somebody I haven't. I've watched a few videos on Alex Toth, and there's a couple groups on YouTube that just do studies off of his work. And I'm always looking at what can I do to hone my skills to improve my artwork, so I can get faster and faster at what I do, so I can focus on the storytelling and not so much the drawing. It sort of comes natural on it, and we can sort of practice that here too. But good stuff. Thanks, Andreas. Tornado T says, "Hi, Paul. This is great stuff. I've subbed and will definitely binge your previous live streams." Yeah. Oh my goodness. You good friends out there is try to come up with some shorter versions of what we're talking about, and just sort of like, what do you call it, the cliff notes of what we're talking about during our live sessions. And I'd be really interested. I know I've asked this before a few times, but I think it's really important. It's hard because we're not physically talking to each other like I'm talking to you right now. So I was just really curious if people were interested out there, if you'd like to see more, I would say, let's just say, specific content, where if you wanted to buy some sort of tutorial or some sort of mentorship. So let me know in the chat if that's something that you might want to be getting into, or something you might want to explore with me. Let me know. I'm just sort of feeling it out right now. Right now I'm having a blast doing these live streams and sharing. I think it's important to share with one another. And this channel, I've created this YouTube channel just to share my journey, my process. But I know there's a few people that are super interested in honing their skills and getting into this craft. And I'm just curious what type of feedback you might have. So drop it into the chat, or you're welcome to DM me on my Instagram account, or send me an email and stuff. I'd really appreciate that, just to get some feedback from you great people. I know I've had a lot of people come to me in the past and partner up with me. I used to be a college instructor, and teaching in the art department, and I know a lot of people have said, "Hey, Paul, why don't you start teaching again?" So I'm just curious to get some feedback. I'd appreciate that. So Tornado T, enjoy the binge watching. There's a lot of great content. So remember, on Tuesdays you have the Mastering the Basics series. I got the playlist on there. Just watch it from the beginning and go through it at your own leisure. On Thursdays we have our sketching after hours, and then on Saturdays we have our jam sessions, so we pick a different topic. But I'm glad everybody's having a great time and having fun with this. I am too. So these are, like I said before, these are the things that we need to ask our director or client about, and how do they want to see this scene. Usually, most of the time, and I'll just from what my experiences are, usually this type of artwork. You're going to see that in concept design. It might be a commercial, for an advertisement, something like that. In terms of what we're talking about. Um, Sometimes you'll see this with the grayscale. You'll see that in like video games. This would be your cutscenes, or you your final output for possibly an art of book or something like that, where you have this, or it's a concept piece. It's on spec. They're trying to the filmmakers are trying to get the financing for the film, so you'll maybe have some sequence beats, some storyboard beats that tell a little bit of the story of what's going on and what the look is. I would say, but most of the time, I would say you're right around here. You're in the line art section, and you're in the sort of the black and white and a little bit of grayscale. I would say I want to say it till tone. So if I'm doing a piece of work, it's going to be between the line art, the black and white drawing, and the grayscale. But I'm not gonna. I don't want to say, because it's a lot of things I'm doing in this particular shot. But I would say there's. Let me just get a little new layer on there, and it's the way I work, and that would be sort of like when you're board. Let me get a circle here. So you're going to use black, and this is what I mean by tone, not so much a grayscale, but just sort of a tone. You would use your black, you would probably use like your white. Let me just draw. Here, let's go like this. Let's see, you would use your white. I was just trying to, I'm on a white background, so it doesn't work so hot there. You'd use black, white, and I would keep it to just a few colors. Maybe you have a 50% gray. And then maybe you have like a 25%. Keep it simple. Let's just say that's like a 25% gray. And you can do a lot with just these simple 4 colors, of a grayscale. So, that's where I would, but I have some other like glowing features and stuff like that. That's overkill, if you're trying to tell a story, because the main point is not so much the rendering. The rendering has different effects for what you're trying to do, and for this particular project, or for your client, like a commercial or whatever it might be. But like I said, most of the time it's going to be the line art. It's going to be the gray. It's going to be the black and white or a grayscale feature, and use those simple tones. You don't need a ton of colors. You want to keep it simple so your shots can read easily, because we're in the business of telling stories, not illustrations of the best damn work we've ever drawn. Where we're buying a movie poster. We're here to tell a story. We're here to have sequential art, coming together, and there's a lot more to it. How are we editing? How are we cutting between the shots? There's so much to this craft that we're working on, and we don't want to get bogged down too much with just how to draw the picture. So, but those are the main sort of styles that we were talking about today. Tornado T. I think storyboards would be a great topic to focus on. It seems like there aren't many people who teach in depth about the steps and thought process that goes into making a good storyboard. That's true. There's some Tornado T. There's some fantastic story artists out there, storyboard artists, and search those people up. I know with the channel here, I'm going to be inviting. One of the things, ideas I have is inviting some of my friends and people that I've met through my work into having to interview them and sharing their story with you folks, and and partnering up with them and bringing that to you guys. I think it's really important to see where did you come from, how did you get into this, as you're learning this craft. There's a lot to it, and because you need to know films. One of the big things I always talk about, besides sketching after hours, sketching daily. I try to sketch as much as I can, friends, and I really would recommend to you to sketch as much as you can. Whether you're hanging out in a cafe, just drawing people, you're going. I have a really good friend. He would go to the zoo and he would draw the animals at the zoo and work on his animal construction at the zoo. Other people like taking photographs and then drawing from their photographs their artwork that way. I think you need to draw from life. If you just look at your favorite artists and you're just going to be a mimic of them and not your own style. Your own style comes after all those years of practice and putting together the way you draw and the way you see things. And drawing inspiration. I'm always inspired all the time, like I was saying before. I'm always looking at different artists, and today with social media, there's so many different people and so many different styles, and it can just be mind-boggling all that. And which way should I go? Be you first of all. I think it's really important to be you. Generate your style. This is your take on what you're doing. It's the same thing with filmmakers. Filmmakers all have different styles. In terms of, a Spielberg film is going to look different than a Fincher film, and it's going to look different from a Wes Anderson film. It's going to look different from a Scorsese film or a Coppola film, or whatever it might be, or Nolan film, or whatever it might be. Everything is a little bit different, and but like I said, work on your sketching. Invest that time into it. Draw every day. And it's that muscle memory. When you're drawing, your hands moving, your muscles are moving, your mind's thinking. It's that hand-eye coordination in terms of what you're doing. And then two, study your films. And it's not just watch John Wick 4. I just watched that the other day and for the first time, and there's some great sequences in that film. I've always been a big fan of since the first one. But the first one got me. It's like the first Matrix with Keanu Reeves, Agent Smith, and the whole 9 yards. Morpheus and all that stuff. And the first one, when Trinity starts running up on that wall, man, that wow! I haven't been wowed in a film since I saw something like Die Hard or Raiders of the Lost Ark at the theater back in the day. It's like that was cool. Or you saw something like Lord of the Rings, or Guillermo del Toro has come out with some fantastic work, and Tim Burton, if you're going back, that made you want to fill that movie seat. So study those films, study those classic films. We were talking about Samurai and Akira Kurosawa, and study those films. There's a lot, from Hitchcock to whoever it might be. You gotta, study those films. What other things I was thinking of? Or watching The Shining, or Clockwork Orange, or there's so many different films out there to study, and directors to study, cinematographers. Know your craft, know what you're doing, because one thing I think I was given an assignment back in the day, but I also I challenge you those find those films that made you feel something. Okay, whether it be a romance movie or a comedy or a drama or an action movie that the pick those sequences that made you feel something and sort of study them. How did they make you feel like that? How did the subtext get to you so you can understand how that film was made and sort of what do you call it? It's like when you're working with software and you're reverse engineer it, and have some fun with that. And sort of why did that make you feel? I was watching the original Siskel and Ebert review of Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Roger Ebert was like, boom, that first sequence, it sucked you right into the movie. That whole South American scene with you're introduced to Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones character, boom, right at the beginning, and going after the idol there at the beginning of the movie, and then you have Alfred Molina with the fingers and the whole thing, and then the whole thing goes to kaput, and the system starts breaking down, and he escapes the rolling boulder, and then all of a sudden now he's handing over the idol he just found or discovered or whatever, and Belloc's there and ready to take it away. So you find those movies that work well with you, and then break those down. And I know there's a couple storyboard artists out there. They go and they storyboard. I, for, I don't remember the person's name right off the top of my head, but they storyboarded the whole Terminator 2 film. And then right now they're working on Raiders of the Lost Ark. And that's a great way to study and hone in your craft of, what makes a great shot, what makes you feel this way, what's the subtext. Let's go back to the chat real quick, and then we'll do a little bit of drawing here. Okay, Tornado T. That would be a real treat. Interviews with successful storyboard artists to supplement your live teach would work out really well. Yeah, cool. Now I got a lot of friends out there, and I'm just gonna invite, once I figure out how to do all this technical stuff, invite those friends onto the channel, and that would be fun to sort of share each other's stories and sort of stuff like that. I won't talk about NDA stuff or something they're currently working on now that the writer strike is and actor strikes are all over with. Yeah, but that would be fun to do. So, anyways, back to what we were talking about. We have our Jurassic Time Loop script that we were working through and having some fun with. So let's go ahead. We've talked about line art. We've talked about black and white. We've talked about grayscale or tone. And we talked about full color of what we're trying to do here. So I hope you guys are all having a good time out there and having fun. I know where everybody is. Tornado T, where are you from? I know Bharat's from India. Andreas, I forgot where you were from, Andreas. Were you U.S. side, or were you from somewhere else? I forgot. I know you had mentioned it before. I forgot to write it down. But Tornado T, where are you from? Curious where you're from. Okay, let's go back over here into our work. We have that. Send some images here. What am I doing here? This is a sort of a cool shot. There. So as you also see too, is like when I'm here's our thumbnails we were working with earlier. Is when we're working like this. Alaska, cool, awesome. Alaska. Well, welcome from Alaska. And once you get done, yeah, shoot me a DM on Instagram once you get caught up with everything, Tornado T. Yeah, I'm curious what you think of the live streams once you get over there and you get to catch back up again. Okay, so when I'm thumbnailing, if you see this, I have the thumbnails are a lot smaller. And tricks, I'm just quickly trying to rip these things out. And the other one too is when I start doing the next rough stage, and I'm curious where I want to take this particular live stream and this great chat we're having about what we're doing here for this Jurassic live stream, or Jurassic Time Loop live stream for mastering the basics. I don't know if I want to go to the next step. Let me know in the chat if I'm sort of leave it to you guys and gals out there if you would like to see it go to an animatic. From there, you see a lot of shows out there that are literally almost pure animated shows themselves. I think that's for live action stuff. They call it, they usually call it previs, or for what you're doing, and because you have so many millions and millions of dollars going into these films, whether it be a big Marvel movie or something like that, they'll actually go and sort of animate it. So they sort of there's no questions. It's all figured out and planned before you go to film, and everything's even figured out. I know a lot of these companies. I know. You're looking at like shows like The Mandalorian, where they have their LED stages and everything is right there developed right there on the spot. They can change so many different variables and elements within those shots too. But if you be, I'll probably when I'm working here right now, I think I'll probably animate it in. If I was to do an animatic, I'd probably do it here in Photoshop and then use the timeline scenario. I do that sometimes if I just need a quick and easy way, or to get the timing and stuff like that put together. Maybe I'll use Storyboard Pro, or I'll use another editing system, whether it be DaVinci Resolve or something like that, as I put together a little bit better timing or soundtracks and stuff like that. There's all different pieces of software that can do different things for you. As you're learning and you're putting that together. But if you're interested, let me know if we want to go to the next step, or maybe the next time we get together for this live stream for mastering the basics. Maybe we'll do the animatic from there. Cool. So when you're drawing, and sometimes what I'll do is, like when I'm revising these shots, I'll come back in there and say this science officer Brody. There's a lot of things I'm thinking about when one more step into it, is when I'm thinking and I'm revising shots, say because we're pretending that we have a big Hollywood script with this particular series of lessons that I wrote for this Jurassic Time Loop. So you might get some notes, and maybe the original shot, the director may say, get that rule of thirds going on a little bit more with that shot. I want to see a different staging. Maybe he's not holding maybe he's holding an axe, and he's not holding a pipe or something like that to beat one of the dinosaurs down. So we're revising that shot real quick. So let's revise that shot together a little bit. So I got that there. I'll probably lose the bounding picture box here. And get this in there. And so what I'll do is I'll just drop the opacity down a little bit on this guy. Add my new layer on there. Maybe I can call that line art. Okay. And let's use our simple value palette that we had up here. Grab our black. Zoom in on this character a little bit. We'll revise that. Revise that character a little bit. So if we're talking line art, would be here. So let's just say that that was our line art for this particular shot. Okay, we have our line art. Okay. Oops. Same shot right here. Grab Science Officer Brody so we can sort of show our differences in our shot. Okay, so here we have some line art. As we're coming through. And then if we're doing the tone in terms of what we're doing here, we might be able to go grab that gray tone here. Here. Grab our panel there. Put that tone down. Like that. We can have some fun with this. And so it's gray, black. There's the 10%. Maybe we grab that gray. Maybe some of the ship. Is here. Looks like that. Okay. And then maybe we get that this is simply how you can just do your grayscale for your boards. You know, sometimes they'll come in. Yeah, not doing it very pretty, but you get the idea of what we're doing here. And then to make the character pop out. What we're trying to do is keep it simple, keep that shot simple so it's easy to read. If you wanted him to pop out off the board. Sort of reads pretty easy, you know, for what we're doing here. And then you could always add. Do something like that, then your board is easy to read in terms of what you're doing. So again, here we have this shot, just using grayscale. Maybe it might be line drawing, and then it might just be tonal. And that's where the tonal comes into play a little bit compared to this, where you have a little bit of blurring and stuff like that you could add in, and not as complicated as the color shot, but something simple. You could always go and color this in from there, but it keeps it simple. It keeps it easy to read. There's a couple board artists out there that actually do just a fantastic job. And instead of doing something like that where the character is all in white or like this, that makes that character pop. Another way you could, this one storyboard artist, I love the way they do, they get your focus. And it might be just something as simple as this. I want you to be right there in his eyes. So the eyes would be the whitest part, you know, in terms of what we're doing. Get a little bit thicker in there, make that pop. You know, maybe it's right there. Or it's the face, it's the anger on the face in terms of what we're doing. Or it might be the blade itself. You know, that we're focused on. And that light helps you to focus on that. So again, with that little lesson there is like, maybe we just want to focus on the blade itself. And that's where we're sort of focused, and maybe we're focusing on the eyes. And the other thing too is you can even tone down that as well behind it. Just throw that on there. Let's get it so it's not. Let's go 50% gray to there, and we'll do a little gradient. Do something like that, and that gives you the idea too. Helps you to focus. It's a little bit more of the grayscale, but it creates a different imagery, you know, for your board of what you're trying to do. So if that makes sense to you, just your eye is going to go to that pinpoint of either the axe blade or his eye, something as simple as that. Let's see here. Hope everybody's doing well and you're enjoying this. We're having some good fun here. So we have a variety of how these storyboard shots would work. You know, we've talked about line art, we've talked about black and white, we've talked about grayscale, or just the simplification of that as tone. Talked about full color in terms of the renders. We just started boarding out this thing here, where we have just a line art here, and then also to using our tones, keeping it simple, you know, so it's easy to read in terms of what we're doing. So there's so many different ways of putting these final revisions together of what you're working on. You know, we've come a long way since these original drawings and our original script of what we're doing. You know, another one might be something like this shot here. Let me grab this one here. Grab all this. Tornado jumped in and said, following along and enjoying every moment of it. It's neat how similar is making the comic page. Yeah, that's a good point and question too at the same time. To me, I think of storyboarding is different than comic book paneling. And the reason I would say that, let's just let's leave that here. Let's zoom into this, and I'll explain why I think it's different. When you're doing a comic page, I did the back in the early 90s, I worked on a comic book series called Reflux. It was the first interactive comic book series. I started off as an animator and then went off to do specialized projects from there with this interactive comic book technology. And it was fun, but it was a little different. We were using kung fu movies and putting those kung fu movies into an interactive comic book. So you put the actual fight sequence, the film fight sequence, into a comic book series. It was called Reflux, and I worked on 2 of those issues that came out on CD-ROM and some of the first interactive comic books. And then I was working with the project ended up getting canceled, but we were working with Jackie Chan, and it was with Golden Harvest. With the sequences from Drunken Master. I think it was Drunken Master 2. And, you know, in developing all that, those layouts and things like that. Comics are a lot different. So let's just say I have a comic page. Let's just draw your basic comic page. And they're different than storyboards because, okay, so here we have, let's just say this is our comic page here. And let's say you have your, and when you watch like videos on Marvel or however, they want you to draw your panels a certain way. Let's just say that this is your comic page. That was a horrible line. And let's just say this is your comic page. Okay? And comic pages in the United States are meant to read left to right, top to bottom. Okay? So, and that's how, so you would start here, you would read this panel, you know, you'd come down here, go to this panel, and then drop into that panel. Okay? And so with that said, you know, because you would have your, go back over here, you of course would have your dialog boxes, you'd have your, let's just say, let me just make a quick comic real quick while we're talking. Ha ha. Doing here, and this person's going under the and this person's talking to them, and let's just say that's your comic page. When you're reading a comic page, and what makes it different in my opinion, it's the gutter. It's this space in between here. And what that's doing is that's the comic is getting set up and you're filling in the blanks in the gutter. You're working through the subtext through the gutter as your eye is making a mental image, so that comic artist doesn't need to have full rendered, you know, you have a Bernie Wrightson or somebody like that, artist of that nature, and they've created this this fantastic piece of illustration, and it's detailed out, but not all of them. You watch read some of the current books on Moon Knight or whatever. There's no backgrounds, there's no nothing, because the establishing shot set up the background, and you're just seeing the fight sequence of Moon Knight going up against another character or whatever it might be. But you're making up the story or the images in between each panel in the gutter. You get that sort of pause. You see an image, you read all the dialogue boxes, and you take a second, and then you go to the next panel. Storyboarding is different, and it's different because you're going through each shot of that particular sequence. There is no thinking. There is no, you know, you're composing a shot, because I'm not looking at a comic page like that. I am looking at a singular picture frame that is 1080 by 1080 by 1920. It's that, and you have to give all this information, you know, whether it be our character or whatever it might be. You have to have all that information in that shot. to martial artists or something, the master. It's right here. We have the pagoda. And we're telling a story visually through each one of these shots. And these shots think of it as a film strip as they're being portrayed to you. There is no thinking. We have to display and show everything in that particular shot. And I think that's a big difference between comic book panels and storyboard frames or storyboard shots. We need to explain everything in a storyboard. I think it's each are both sequential, both are visual storytelling, but two different. I think they're two different mediums of what you're doing. The way I would draw and put together a comic book page and lay out a page is going to be totally different than how I storyboard. There's a lot of similarities. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of similarities, but they are different. So, Tornado T. Andreas was asking because we did the samurai, sketching after hours this last week. Paul, did you watch the 5 Deadly Venoms Kung Fu movie yet, Paul? No, I have not. I stay pretty busy, but let me write that down, Andreas, so I don't forget. Let's see, 5 Deadly Venoms Kung Fu. I love martial art films, and I've watched all types. I don't speak Mandarin or Cantonese or Japanese or anything, but it's like I love movies. I studied martial arts for a long time, and I was always a big fan when all those came out. When Jean-Claude Van Damme came out, and I remember whatever Bruce Lee movies or Chuck Norris or whatever it might be. And then there was during the I think it was the late 80s, early 90s. There's so many different kung fu movies that came out. You had the Karate Kid, with Ralph Macchio. You had so many different things. It was crazy. Let's see. Tornado T, good point. Paul, I think that comics also put more emphasis on making the art look amazing instead of getting the basics down to communicate the story. Great discussion. Yeah, totally, Tornado T. Yeah, that's another thing. You're illustrating your if I'm looking at an artist and you're looking at their work, and there's so much detail poured into that, and you think of the splash page, boom, that 2-page fold out to get you, whether it be Spawn, whether it be Todd McFarlane drawing that, or Greg Capullo, or whoever it might be, or whatever it might, or back in the day it was Jim Lee, when they were working at Image, or now at DC, you see this Batman coming out, and Jim is just absolutely phenomenal at that work. Or you have a splash page where you got J. Scott Campbell drawing his beautiful women and stuff like that in the Image side. Then you got Darwin Cook, and others that just absolutely phenomenal comic artists, and it's like, but it's about that point of what you're trying to do. We're not here to be as a storyboard artist. We were showing back with these other images. I'm not going to say that this is like the greatest drawings ever known to illustration, but it's the whole point is we're trying to tell a story, and we're trying to get a mood too. So maybe there's certain aspects of these images that we were just talking about, and we were showing the differences between these 4 different styles and the mood that it generates, to make you feel something. You want to feel for these characters. We were talking about studying films. How did that make you feel? What was the subtext? Did it make you angry? Did you get pumped up? Did you want to win the football game with the characters and get revenge on the antagonist or whatever it might be. Those are all great things to be talking about and discussing, and we're trying to do that through our image, and it's completely different than a comic book that way. We're not here to draw the best looking T-Rex in the world. Now, and that's where your concept artists are coming in and doing that type of work, or your, you know, or your animations, and it depends on what you're doing and what are the requirements of that particular job. You look at something like that not the current one, but the one of those recent editions of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Those 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 animatics are just incredible. Just artwork, and it's all laid out. So when that um, work is shipped over to overseas to have the final animation put together for these things, there's no question. It's already spelled out for you. Just it's like making a Betty Crocker cake. Just follow the directions, stir and bake in the oven. You're done. The vision is right there and ready to rock and roll. So good stuff for that, and it just sort of these are the questions that you ask your director, you ask your client, of what you're trying to do. So tonight we sort of went on some cool discussions here tonight, and I really appreciate everybody taking the time, asking good questions. I'm happy to help out and share in terms of what we're talking about tonight. I think we may do one more session, because I'd like to take the time. I'd like to go and finish these thumbnails and get these sort of boards put together. I got a lot of projects I'm working on all at the same time, so this is what I do in my extra spare time. But I really love working with you good folks, and chatting about storyboards, chatting about films, and sort of sharing my process in my storyboard journey with you good folks. I'm just looking at this right now, just to sort of recap a little bit of what we talked about tonight real quick. Let me go back to this. This is where we started from. So we have our script, that Jurassic Time Loop script that we've been working from, and we talked about the process. Read that script over and over and over and over. Find the meaning, find the truth, find the subtext, find what the vision of the story, the screenplay writer was trying to communicate. What is the director's vision? Read that script quite a few times. It's picking out, again, we talked about picking out all those elements in the script, whether you use a highlighter or you're digitally looking at these things digitally, and you use your own little system there. You're putting your thoughts together, initial thumbnails, you put together your shot list, you have some basic concept work of what your characters could look like in terms of what you're doing. Then you're going to go through, and then you're going to go and once you've done that work, you're going to go and you're going to thumbnail out those shots, and you're going to put that sequence together. And usually you work in a sequence. That's how I usually work. You're given so many pages of the script, and you'll create that sequence there. You'll do those boards. One step back, I'll do a bunch of research too. And that'll be from, like we were talking about, 1960s spacecraft. What did astronauts wear in the 1960s? What is the genre? What is the time period? What are those type of things? How are hairdos done? What type of weapons do they have? What did the creatures look like? What did the dinosaurs look like? There's a lot of research to do. You put your thumbnails together, you get those approved, and then you go do your rough storyboards from there. And then you're either doing line art, tone, or full color, and we discussed all of those here, whether it be the line art, and that's the requirement, black and white, grayscale or tone. This was more of a tone here, and then also if it was full color or not. And once that gets approved and everything is done, you go on to your next sequence. You'll definitely get notes. They always call it storyboard iteration. So you'll be doing multiple, and so it's really important on how you save all your files so you're not recreating everything. But if your director is asking, hey, listen, hey, Polly, I like this shot, or I want to see this, or can you add these couple frames to it? You can do that together in terms of what you're doing. So I hope this was a great live stream. I hope you guys learned a lot tonight. I enjoyed our discussion about the difference between comic book work and storyboard work. Even though it is both sequential work, they are two different media styles of what we're doing and how we interpret that and put that together. So if you enjoyed the show and you enjoyed the live stream, please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate that. This channel has been growing like crazy. We've been doing this for about 2 months now and hanging out together, and I've seen some great work. Talking about the great work, I know Andreas has been sharing quite a bit of it. I'd love to see everybody else's work, Barad or Tornado T. Shoot me a DM over on Instagram, and it's easy to find my handle. I post pretty much almost every day there on my Instagram channel, just my artwork and things like that, as I do here on the channel. I'm trying to post more shorts and stuff like that, so you can see sort of my process work, some of the things that I'm working on, or what I'm trying to do is get some more value stuff out there for you, so you're learning a little bit from the shorts as well as just enjoying some of the artwork. Again, my name is Paul Angeli. I'm a live action storyboard artist, and I appreciate you being with me tonight. I wish you all a great evening. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday at our Sketching After Hours meetup on our live session. So if you can join us, please join us. I appreciate Barad and Andreas and Tornado T joining me tonight on the live chat and part of the live stream tonight. If you're catching this on the replay, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to watch these live streams. I hope you're getting some great value out of it. I'm open to all feedback too, so please shoot me a comment, or you can DM me on Instagram, and I'll leave you my information at the end. Well, friends, you have a fantastic night. I hope your night was well. I'm going to get ready to get some sleep. It's almost 2 in the morning over here, and I'm going to get some shut-eye and to take on the day tomorrow. But anyways, I look forward to seeing you in the next live stream. Have a great and fantastic night.